Your health system for psychiatry is not designed to heal you. Our conventional healthcare approaches in psychiatry are not meant to heal us. And I want us to really understand this. I know a lot about this because I work in psychiatry. I work with patients every day. I've been trained in psychiatry. And also, I've had my own experiences where I've had to deal with my own depression and anxiety. And it was other methods that were really what helps me to broaden my approaches to helping those conditions that I was experiencing at that time. And so let's talk about this. Why would I say that conventional medicine and psychiatry is not designed to heal you? Well, I would say that because where I'm at in Western medicine, well, in Western world and Western civilization in the United States of America, this system, this structure that I live in, that many of you live in, is formulated from a approach of capitalism, which means the first thing that is really of importance is making money, making capital, earning something from everything. And so when we talk about our mental health and being in a capitalistic environment and healthcare system, unfortunately, it's not the patient's well-being that's thought of first. So the system is designed to make money. And whenever that is the initial motivating factor, it means that there are going to be other things that are sacrificed, other people who have to be, not included or treated a certain way if they don't present with the capitalistic gain that a system may want to have. Now, this doesn't mean that there are not good doctors, there are not good providers, but it means that we are trained under a system that, if we're not functioning with some awareness, we end up just precipitating the systems that we are in. And so that's really important for us to really consider, really think about, is the systems that we function under. How do we let go from being so encapsulated under those systems where we're just basically pushing forward that agenda the way that they would want things to be? So capitalism is a major part of the framework of medicine and a lot of conventional medicine. Also, providers and doctors aren't usually trained to help support a person or a patient to be independent in their care, to become healed of their conditions. We are really trained to evaluate a patient, give them a diagnosis, and then use medicine to treat the diagnosis that has been given, which means that we're only looking at this diagnosis and managing the symptoms that go along with that diagnosis. So it's hard to really be in any form of empowerment if we are dependent on medicine to do everything. And I am not knocking medicine. I am not telling anyone to stop taking their medicine. That would be unsafe. All of those things you deal with and talk with your doctor. But what I'm saying is that when we are in systems where we're prescribing medication, it causes patients to be dependent on receiving that medication, so that they can continue to treat these symptoms. When we're only treating symptoms, we're not getting to the root of the issue that a person is experiencing. So there cannot be healing if this is what we're doing. Third would be that, I'm looking at my notes because I just want to make sure I don't lose my place. When we're talking about being diagnosed with something, we treat the diagnosis as if it is the main issue, as if it is the problem, as if it is the solution. And the truth is, our diagnosis is usually just a symptom of something deeper than the diagnosis itself. So for example, if I see a patient and they come and sit in my office and we do an evaluation and I determine that they are experiencing anxiety, and so I give them this diagnosis of anxiety, and then I start prescribing medication for the anxiety. This is, if you can imagine, this is very partial in its approach to really treating or healing or helping with the facilitating a healing process, because we're not even talking about the cause here. We're just given a diagnosis, and many people will say, well, I feel this way because I have anxiety, so that's the issue. So I take the medicine and it deals with the anxiety. But really, what the medicine is doing is it's treating symptoms of something deeper. And so when we talk about the things that could be deeper, I want to talk about 5 areas that really could be impacting why you are feeling certain issues with your mental health. So one of them could be our diet and our nutrition. We are not trained in medical school and in any advanced degree programs for psychiatry that, to use nutrition as a way to really approach supporting and truly healing what is going on. But food, really, we hear that term food is medicine because food has nutrients. When it's real food, it has nutrients that is helping to give our body something on a cellular level. In our country, in the United States, we go by a standard American diet. And the acronym for that is SAD diet, because that is what it is. Because the standard American diet really does not have many nutrients, but it has a lot of fat, sugar, and oils in it that, really that harm our body, harm our cells in the long run. And it really impacts how we feel physically, but also mentally and emotionally. So we have to think about our diet and nutrition. We have to think about our connections. If we are connected to a lot of toxic people, a lot of people who, who have been harmful or mistreating us, if we're not having enough connections, if we're isolated, these are things that really can impact how we feel emotionally. And we can also look at that as if we have healthy relationships, supportive relationships, how these things tend to support our overall well-being. It's that community that's so important for many of us, especially people of color, especially Black people. We come from community, and community really means that we have support, and support is important. So positive support, healthy support. So we're talking about diet and nutrition, connections, movement, exercise and movement. Many of us in our society, we're sitting at desk all day, we drive home, we're exhausted when we get home because we're stressed, and we sit and we watch TV for the rest of the evening. But in the midst of all this, there's very little movement. And movement and exercise can really wake up our body, can really nourish our body in ways and get us going, releasing chemicals that really can be beneficial to us. So it's diet and nutrition, it's our connections, it's our movement and exercise, it's our stress levels. What kind of stress are we dealing with on a day-to-day basis? How do we manage our stress? Do we have ways of managing stress? Do we have ways of alleviating stress? And then there is our sleep. So many of us in many of our cultures in modern day are overworked and under-rested. And I know that's not a word, but we're overworked and we have little rest. Many of us are up for many hours of the day. We don't go to sleep until late in the night, 12, 1 o'clock, and then we have to get up at 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning. Some of us are working the night shift that has our circadian rhythm and our clock completely flipped upside down. Some of us can't fall to sleep because we're worrying about so many things. Some of us can't stay asleep because we have nightmares and we're dealing with those dynamics. So these are 5 areas that we are very seldom talking to people about, or are even just ourselves educated on how can we maximize these parts of us. How can we maximize these parts of ourselves to be able to get better results, to be able to feel better and have a different experience. So I want to give you one tip to try, and to continue to work with it, because anything that we learn new, it takes time and repetition to create like a pattern from doing that new thing that we're not used to doing, so that we don't default back to bad habits or patterns that have not been helpful. So I really want you to do this. I want you to get a pen and paper. I want you to envision your idea of you being at your most optimal state of wellness. What would your optimal state of wellness look like? So in order to do that, I want you to be really descriptive. I don't want you to say, well, my optimal state of wellness would be that I don't have stress. I want this to be descriptive. I want you to write a story as if you're living a day in an optimal state of wellness. So that means when you wake up in the morning, what are you waking up to? What are you waking up thinking about and feeling? Who's laying next to you when you wake up? Who busts in your room to come and see you and hug you in the morning when you wake up? When you get out of bed, how do you feel? When you look in the mirror, what do you see? As you start your day, who are the interactions that you are making that really connect to you having wellness? What happens in your day that shows a picture of wellness? I want you to be very descriptive. And I want you to do this in a way where when you're writing it, you're so connected to the emotion of that you start smiling as you're writing it. Have you ever done that? You think about something and it makes you smile just thinking about it? That's what I want you to do when you're writing this, to be in a state of being in the moment. So this isn't writing this out longing for it as if it's not here. This is writing it as if you're experiencing it right now. Bring it into this present moment. The reason that I want you to do that is because one main real reason is because what we think about and what emotion we connect to, our body is responding regardless of if it's happening right now or not. And we do this all the time. Often, though, we're doing it from a negative lens. We are thinking about the things that upset us. We are thinking about the things that make us worried. We think about the things that we are afraid of, and we feel it. Oftentimes, when we're thinking about things that make us mad, we find ourselves feeling angry. And when we do that, it is signaling our body to release stress hormones, cortisol, because our body doesn't know the difference. And so when we are constantly releasing stress hormones, we're breaking our body down. But when we do this assignment that I'm giving you as a gift, we flip that on its head and we allow our body to feel this happiness, this peace. And when we do that, we are also releasing chemicals into our body, but we're releasing the chemicals of oxytocin, which we experience when we are in connection. It's serotonin, it's norepinephrine, it's dopamine. These chemicals are the chemicals that are being used in many medications when it comes to supporting our mental health. But we can also help to release more of that in our body by the emotions that we allow ourselves to sit in. So it's more than just thinking about something, it's feeling the emotion too. Sometimes we do that by drawing on a desire that we have that would be beautiful, or drawing off of a memory that we've had that has been really heartwarming. So I want you to try that. This video was only to be 10 minutes, so I'm about to end this video, but I would love for you to connect with me. If you want to do a 1-hour wellness session where we can talk about some tips that can be helpful and beneficial to you to apply to your life, then I would love for you to book a session with me, and I will leave the link in the comment section of this video. I want you to enjoy the rest of your day, evening, have a restful night. If you're watching this later, have a beautiful day, and I will see you later. Take care.